Hey guys, welcome back into episode number 7 of the DangerSports Podcast. Today, I'm going to be going over everything that happened last week Sunday on Super Bowl Sunday, how the game went, why it went this way, why I made my prediction, and if I did not get it right, we shall see coming up here in this video. So, my prediction was the 49ers to win. I thought they had the better roster. I was wrong because the Chiefs won. They won 25-22, and the reason that they won was not because anything more than you would expect. The reason that the Kansas City Chiefs won was because they have the best quarterback in football, and that is Patrick Mahomes. Nothing makes this. If you swap these two quarterbacks, the 49ers win by 30. It's not a debate, honestly, that Patrick Mahomes is by far the number one quarterback in the NFL right now, and I think in my opinion, he's approaching top 5 all time. Let's see, like about top 5 all time as far as quarterbacks in the league. A lot of people are saying that right now. I've seen people go as high as number 2, which I think is quite honestly stupid and over. I think Joe Montana at least is at a better spot than him. But anyways, it was Mahomes, as I talked about. You would expect the game to be more of a running game for the Chiefs with Pacheco, but you see the game go down, and you're like, they're really not running the ball very much. And Mahomes led the team in rushing with 66 yards, got the Super Bowl MVP for a reason, without anybody else on his team, really, to really contend for it. It was not a very tough choice to make. The game went to overtime. It was 19-19, I believe. And then we go to overtime, right? And then the 49ers elect to receive the opening overtime, which is in a normal regular season game is usually the smart move. Actually, no, it's always the smart move. When it comes to the other way around, it's more of a college plan where you would want to defer the kick and not take the ball because you don't actually want the ball first, because if the other team scores, then you'll still have a chance. But if you get the ball first, you have to punt, and then they score, the game's over. So there's nothing to do. You can't come back from it. So in other words, you're handicapping yourself. If the other team goes down and punts, you have a much better chance of scoring. Or if they kick a field goal or even a touchdown, then you know exactly what you need to get, which is why I would defer. And the 49ers ended up receiving, and they got a field goal. Chiefs ended up winning with a touchdown to McCole Hardman on the last play of the game with 3 seconds left in overtime. But for 49ers, McCaffrey was heavily involved. He had 80 yards rushing and exactly 80 yards receiving. Highest all-purpose player when it came to receiving and for rushing. Brock Purdy, I thought, played a good game. He was not. A lot of people say, "Oh, Brock Purdy, it was his fault." No, I mean the game was out of his control. I think it wasn't any. It was honestly for the 49ers. Nobody I would say no player or even a coach really lost them the game. They didn't lose the game. Patrick Mahomes won this game. That is period what happened. Patrick Mahomes proved himself even further in this game. He can just beat the best team in football and make it not look that difficult because, he is Patrick Mahomes. So he's going to probably do what he wants to do more often than not. So I thought for the 49ers there was another guy that would have maybe even gotten Super Bowl MVP if the 49ers would have won, and that was actually Juwan Jennings. People weren't expecting him to really be as big of a factor as he was. A lot of people, or Brock Purdy likes to refer to him as third Juwan, which is because on third down usually he's his number one option, which is weird because he's the number 3 receiver on the depth chart behind Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. But I think, the big play for the best play, I guess, for the 49ers, which was something that they made in the first half. Generally, we're going to just go to the first half. Generally, they were able to make Patrick Mahomes look very uncomfortable, and they really got to him, and he didn't look like Patrick Mahomes out there. He looked like a rookie Patrick Mahomes out there. He looked not like the guy we've been seeing for the last 4 or 5 years. Maybe if he were to have started in his rookie year, which he didn't, by the way, and then maybe he would have, been in a different spot. But anyways, the 49ers played a heck of a game defensively in the first half. Things changed, obviously, in the second half, where the Niners didn't really do anything on defense or offense in the entire second half, including overtime, quite honestly. But Jair Brown was the big play for the defense in the second half. Patrick Mahomes made a big mistake, and he threw the ball. It was not a good throw. It was underthrown, and the ball landed in the hands of Jair Brown for the first interception for Patrick Mahomes in the last 2 postseasons of play. I mean, it's very, very hard to see how Patrick Mahomes himself throws 1 interception in 2 whole postseasons, which is, let's see, 3 games last year and 4 games this year, because they didn't have the wild card game last year. They had the conference championship and the Super Bowl. This year they had every game. They had the wild card, they had the divisional, and they had the conference in the Super Bowl, which is 4 games. So they had 7 games where Patrick Mahomes has not thrown an interception in the last 2 postseasons, which is not just crazy because it's been 7 games without an interception. It's crazy because you're playing against the best of the best, especially in the AFC. The best teams with the best rosters typically come out of the AFC because there's more better quarterbacks in the AFC than there is in the NFC. Just a simple fact. Usually the teams in the NFC are more, like the Super Bowl teams in the NFC typically have been, out of the last few years, have been more teams that are built overall around the quarterback have been built really well, whereas the AFC teams that are just very heavily reliant on their elite quarterback that has proven people to be what he is, which is the elite quarterback. But another mistake made by the 49ers was their kicker, Jake Moody from Michigan, missed an extra point, which, by the way, if he would have made this extra point, the Chiefs, on their last drive with, I believe, within a minute left in the game, they got into the goal line, or they got into the red zone, is what I meant. They get into the red zone, and then they decide to kick a field goal because they get to like 4th down, and they almost scored, by the way, on the third down, but they kick a field goal because it's a 3-point game. If Jake Moody makes that field goal, they're gonna have to go for it, and they have to get that field goal, or they have to get a touchdown. Otherwise, the game's over, and the 49ers are celebrating just as the Chiefs are today, as I'm recording this. The 49ers would be the Super Bowl champs, probably. I mean, if Jake Moody misses that kick or makes that kick, and then the Chiefs don't end up scoring a touchdown or any points, which they probably would have had a much lower chance of if he would have made the extra point, they would have probably been the Super Bowl champs. We're talking about a whole different thing. Like, guys, it's a different league. It's a different league. It's all about the team. No. The lesson to be learned here is to win in the National Football League, you must have an elite quarterback. No, you can't have a Brock Purdy. He's very, 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 very good. You could even say he's great. He's not top 5, top 10. Well, okay, maybe he's top 10. He's not top 5. Usually, to win a Super Bowl, you need to be at a Super Bowl level and be consistently in the deep end of the playoffs. You need to have an elite quarterback. And, sure, you want to have an elite team around the quarterback to start their career. Otherwise, they're going to fail, because you look at some of the guys that have been promising and they haven't played up to their abilities because their best option is like a number 4 receiver and a horrible offensive line. Anyways, there's a lot of teams. Well, actually, there's not very many teams, but there's a few poverty franchises that have these problems with guys that they draft at the quarterback position that have elite arm strength, lots of mobility, and then they end up having a really bad issue, which is they can't do anything because they have horrible coaching, they have horrible receivers, and they have horrible everything. Like, they're horrible defense. You can't be good. Like, Patrick Mahomes is good because he has Travis Kelce, but he also had Andy Reid at coach, and he also had Tyreek Hill for a number 1 receiver. Just a heck of a way to start your career. And then once you get to that point, not a lot of these teams, only the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are different. Literally, they are different. You don't see any other team getting to the Super Bowl with a rookie 2nd-round pick, Rashee Rice, being your number 1 receiver. You just don't see it happening. It doesn't happen. Rashee Rice is not a number 1 level receiver. He is a number 3. Honestly, maybe a 2, but he's not a number 1 receiver. It's just crazy. The Chiefs are the only team that can get away with just being a one-player team, which with Patrick Mahomes and we have Travis Kelce. Okay, maybe I'll throw to this guy 6, 7 times a game. Okay, that's not gonna do much. I mean, okay, I got a tight end I can throw to. Woohoo! Who else do you got? Rookie second round pick. Rookie second round pick from SMU. Crazy. Interesting part is Patrick Mahomes got the 49ers defensive coordinator fired. Steve Wilks has been fired because the second half did not go the way they wanted, obviously. Defensively, it looked much easier. The adjustments made were basically not there. I think it's premature, honestly, because you had one bad half of football and you're going crazy and firing your head defensive coordinator because you can't beat the best quarterback in football. Okay, yeah, it's the best quarterback in football. Sometimes you're gonna lose. It's not the end of the world. You don't have to fire everybody because you lost in the Super Bowl to the best quarterback. Honestly, I think Steve Wilks was like a guy who was not horrible. He wasn't great throughout the year. He was mid-level. I think this makes no sense unless they can get a true upgrade, which is not going to be that easy this far into the process unless they see like some guy that I'm just blanking on, somebody that actually fits the scheme, which honestly I don't know if anybody does. Like anybody that they're actually trying to go for at this point is probably hired that fits their scheme. It's probably going somewhere else. So yeah, it took a long time for Patrick Mahomes to get very comfortable because of the way that the 49ers were playing on defense in the first half. Yeah, let's fire our defensive coordinator because we played one bad half of football against the best quarterback in the league. Real smart. Okay, good job, Kyle Shanahan. Oh yeah, also, Kyle Shanahan, the same Kyle Shanahan that blew the 28-3 lead against the Patriots. Oh yeah, another elite quarterback. This is a coincidence. Last year, they played Jalen Hurts, conference championship, blown out. Purdy gets injured. They probably still get blown out. Dude cannot win against the best QBs in the league. At this point, until he proves me wrong, I am never going to pick the 49ers to beat a team in the Super Bowl or maybe even the conference championship ever again. Sure, maybe in the conference championship every 2-3 years if they really have that good of a team. But honestly, I don't know why anybody should pick the 49ers to win a Super Bowl next year. I would, if I'm betting, I am not betting on the Niners. I'm betting on the three-peat. Doesn't mean I think it's going to happen, because honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. But if there is a bet to be made, that is the bet to be made. I mean, 49ers, I'm never going to pick them to win a Super Bowl until they actually do so. We'll see. Kyle Shanahan has yet to win a Super Bowl as a head coach, yet to win a Super Bowl as a coordinator. Until he wins one, I'm never going to pick him because simply he has the better team in 2016. He has the better team in 2019. He has the better team in 2023. Has the better team in 2024. Can't get the job done. He's never going to be fired because he's not bad. He's always going to be a head coach that makes it to the playoffs and probably wins games in the playoffs. If he gets to the Super Bowl, until he wins, I am never going to pick him to win a Super Bowl ever again. You can hold me to that. I'm not picking him. I'm not picking the Niners until they win one. This was their best chance. If they never would have gotten into this situation where, I'm up 10-0, up 10-3, and they get comfortable the same way they do in 2019, the same way they do in 2016. It's like the same thing every single time. This team always gets in a situation where they end up having to be passive aggressive and just let everything happen. They don't take an initiative to actually go out and win the game. They're trying not to lose, honestly. They're not trying to win. They're trying not to lose. Which, honestly, in football, that analogy kind of drives me nuts. Like, you can't do that. You can't win the Super Bowl. You can't win championships by not losing. You have to win. You can't just be 0-0-17. You can't just get ties. You have to win. You get where I'm going. So anyways, my pick is wrong. Is it because of Kyle Shanahan? Is it because of Brock Purdy? I don't think so. I don't think it's because of anything else. I think it's because they don't have a Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. They have a Brock Purdy, who is very good. Very, very good. But he doesn't have that it. He's not that guy. He's the guy in San Francisco, sure. He's the guy. But he's not that guy. You know what I mean. You have to have a guy that's able to compete with that guy. We all know who that guy is. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to be getting in a scenario where I am going to be taking a week or two off probably, and then we'll come back probably around the draft combine, and then we'll talk about, maybe we'll put a mock draft together or two. Probably do a mock draft, and then when it gets closer to April, when it gets into the weeks of the draft, all the rumors are flying, then we'll probably make a second edition of a mock draft, maybe even a third in between at March. But free agency is going to hit. Make sure to watch, because we're going to have every big signing, every medium level signing, everything that you think of that pops up on ESPN or whatever. We're going to have it covered, because here at Danger Sports, we talk about everything that happens, and we will continue to until I'm done here. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.